Trump derangement syndrome. Hatred of Donald Trump so intense that it impairs people's judgment.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance was asked directly if Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, just as he was in last week's debate.
Pressing him on this issue is important because we know over and over again that it is a lie, the big lie, at the center of what Donald Trump requires people around him to say.
He was actually given 5 chances to answer that very straightforward question, and, well,
people are concerned about this issue. 2020 is on their minds, and Donald Trump has refused to acknowledge that he lost that election.
That big lie is the reason we had an insurrection right across the street from here. That big lie caused a lot of this violent rhetoric.
It's one of the key questions of this election.
What's going on, guys? We got to talk about this woke reporter, Lulu Garcia-Navarro. So this lady interviewed J.D. Vance, and he refused to fall for the trap of answering this question about the 2020 election. Now, the way that the radical leftists, the Trump deranged lunatics see it is that it's a win-win for them, or a win-win-win, I should say, because if J.D. Vance says that Trump did lose the election, then he's going against Trump, and aha, he admits that he lost. If J.D. Vance says that Trump did not lose the election, aha, he lied because he did lose the election. That's what they'll say. Or if he just, in this case, refuses to answer, aha, he refuses to answer. So they see it as they're going to get him no matter what. But I think that J.D. Vance handled this perfectly because he called out the fact that there was election interference, plain as day, with the whole Hunter Biden laptop story and how that was suppressed by big tech. And it was pretty damning in of itself that when pressed on the Hunter Biden laptop, this woke behind Lulu person refused to even comment on that. Instead, she just wanted to focus on her question because these people have a narrative and that they're determined to stick with it, regardless of the fact that the American people at this point really don't give a damn about that. They really care about policy and whether or not, you know, groceries are going to be more affordable in the next 4 years in the foreseeable future. But of course, these radical left lunatics don't care about that. They care about January 6th, the 2020 election, dictator on day one, and just overall Trump derangement. Without further ado, let's get into it.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here.
Bear in mind that Kamala Harris campaign, didn't they say they're a new way forward, or we're done with the past, we're not going back? And it seems to me like these people keep wanting to go back.
With focusing on 2020, I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose?
That's another thing. Don't yes or no. Guys, these people are not going to be able to handle me. You're not going to yes or no me. I'm going to answer the question any way that I see fit. If you don't like the answer, you're free to criticize, but don't yes or no me. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say.
The 2020 election.
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's
Vance,
the question.
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
And I've answered your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know.
No, it's not. Joe Biden has been the president. Nobody cares at this point. Now we got a new election coming up, and Donald Trump is kicking Kamala's ass. So what the real question is are the Democrats going to accept the election results once Teflon Don is about to be president? Or are you going to try to pull some, oh, he's an insurrectionist, so he can't be president? Democracy, screw democracy. He's not becoming the president.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand. as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions.
Is that what you're going to pull? Let's not forget, he's still got a sentencing coming up that's literally after Election Day, but before Inauguration Day. Don't forget that, guys.
There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying.
If there's no proof, these people are so annoying. Okay, if these reporters believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is no proof of any type of tomfoolery or widespread voter fraud, why the hell do you keep asking the question? Why not just move on to other things and talk about the economy? It's because these people can't move on to other things because they know that they get their ass beat at every damn issue, be it immigration, be it the economy, be it foreign policy, all ass beatings because the Republicans are based and the Democrats suck donkey balls.
Which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies...
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans...
What type of person does an interview like, the answer is no? Like, bitch, I wish a motherfucker would. Step to me, years to know, like, is that what you heard me say? Or did you hear me say words before, during, after? Like, I wish a motherfucker would.
At a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote. I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no. And the last question, will you support the election results this time and commit to a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, first of all, of course we commit to a peaceful transfer of power. We are going to have a peaceful transfer of power. I, of course, believe that peaceful transfer of power is going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States. But if there are problems, of course, in the same way that Democrats protested in 2004 and Donald Trump raised issues in 2020, we're going to make sure that this election counts.
Yeah, let's not forget 2016 with Hillary Clinton. It was Russia, and he's illegitimate. These people, how quickly they forget. And then Stacey Abrams out here in Georgia, this lady has never conceded the election at all.
I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won.
But I didn't lose. I got the votes. But we won't know exactly how many because of how they cheated.
I did win my election. I just didn't get to have the job.
That's the real
what I'm
thing.
Scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he knows he didn't. He knows he's an illegitimate president.
Stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract.
We still don't know what really happened, Isaac. I mean, there's just a lot that I think will be revealed, history will discover, but you don't win by 3 million votes and have all this other shenanigan stuff going on and not come away with an idea like, whoa, something's not right here.
He knows he's an illegitimate president. So of course he's obsessed with me.
And Al Gore won that election. I think he won it anyway.
I do recognize I am not the governor of Georgia, but I do like to point out something that is true for me and for many in our state, and that is we won.
I'm not saying it's going to be legit. The increase in the prospect of being illegitimate is a direct proportion to us not being able to get these these reforms passed.
Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election.
We should never forget about them since they want to focus so much on the damn past all the time.
That every legal ballot is counted. We've filed almost 100 lawsuits at the RNC to try to ensure that every legal ballot has counted. I think you would maybe criticize that. We see that as an important effort to ensure election integrity, but certainly we're going to respect the results in 2024, and I feel very confident they're going to make Donald Trump the next president.
Guys, these people have some sort of insane obsession with the 2020 election results. They keep saying that this is bothering the voters. What they do is like these fools will like release polls to their websites or they'll show a QR code on the TV or something, and they're intentionally trying to get people to engage with the topics that they want them to engage with. And then when people actually answer, then they're like, well, yeah, see, voters care about this. No, they don't care about it. Talk to real people out here. This is why these people are losing, because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. Talk to real people out here. They're going to keep saying the same thing. They're going to say they care about the economy and the border, including even Democrats are concerned about the border. That's why Kamala Harris keeps blaming the border on Trump now. First, the border was secure. Now, well, it's not secure, but it's Trump's fault. Which one is it? Either it's secure or it's not. It can't be secure, but then if it happens to not look so good, then all of a sudden it's Donald Trump's fault. These people are stupid. Now, I'm going to show you guys another clip with J.D. Vance uninterrupted, where he basically cooks the hell out of this New York Times reporter, for those of you guys who haven't seen this during an interaction at a rally a couple weeks ago.
Thank you. You know, Mike, I'll give you a question just to be nice. This will be our last question. And this is the New York Times, so don't hold it against them.
The paper of record, New York Times. I appreciate you inviting the tough questions and your crowd welcoming the tough questions here. The question is
I'm sure you're going to ask me an easy one, though, Mike, just to make up for it.
The question is about Springfield, not about the situation, but the style, which I think is something new that we're seeing on the campaign trail. You've said, regardless of what the exact precise facts are here, it's worth it to make the larger point of a town overrun by immigration.
Well, I'd say, Mike, I'll ask your question,
yes,
but no, I didn't say regardless of the precise facts. I said you have to listen to what people are saying. Right? The media has tried to say now for days that I've made up this story. I haven't made up anything. I've just listened to people who are telling me these things. And when I said, and the media always does this, they're very dishonest, when I say that I created a story, I'm talking about the media story. By focusing the press's attention on what's going on in Springfield, I'm not making anything up. I'm just telling you what my own constituents are telling me. But ask your question.
That's the point. Your willingness to shine a light on issues you see as important.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if you can describe, if you know where your line is on that. Something, at what point what's something you're willing not to say in order to make a point that is important to you?
What? Well, I mean, come on.
If you know.
Mike. Well,
it was
Mike,
a question for him,
Mike,
not the crowd.
What I wouldn't say is that the New York Times is a respectable paper. That's one thing I wouldn't be willing to say. But all kidding aside, if one person had called me and said, I'm seeing this in Springfield, we maybe let that pass. When 4, 5, 6, 7 people are telling me they see something in Springfield, and on top of it, that there are certain people who refuse to listen to them, who refuse to take their concerns seriously, that's when it's my job as a United States Senator to listen to my constituents. That's really, it's very simple. Now, I mean, look, there's a lot of crazy stuff you read about. I mean, one of these things, I don't know if you saw the story from a couple of years ago that, like, the Defense Department had declassified the UFO stuff. Did you see that? That was a crazy story. I don't talk about that because I have no idea what's going on. So my standard for whether I talk about something, Mike, is whether enough people that I trust bring it to me, at least to the point where I feel like I've got to investigate it myself, not just trust the media to do their job, because a lot of times they don't. So
These people keep thinking that they're dealing with a tampon Tim or something, or a lightweight in J.D. Vance, okay? I will admit I underestimated J.D. Vance around a time when Donald Trump picked him as his running mate, but J.D. Vance has proved me and all of America wrong because this dude is based. Like, you see that response? Like, these people couldn't handle J.D. Vance. That was such a stupid question. What is something that you were not be willing to say? I don't even know how to respond to that, but I appreciate J.D. Vance coming up with something witty like, yeah, well, I'm not going to say that you guys are a reputable organization because you're not. You suck. And you keep asking dumbass questions. You don't want to focus on the economy and the border and things like that that make the Democrats look bad, that Americans really care about. Instead, you want to focus on J6 and just talk about J6 to death. This is what Trump deranged lunatics do. That's not going to move the needle for the independent voters. It doesn't matter how many people that you try to force to care about this whole election and not accepting election results thing. When there's clearly cheating going on, then you try to say there's no widespread fraud. What is widespread defined as exactly? Nobody's ever defined what the hell widespread meant. The only thing that I've heard, or I guess heard insinuated, is that enough definitively to overturn the results of the entire election. But if you never do any research to begin with, then how are you ever going to get to the bottom of finding if there's enough to overturn an election? You're not looking to begin with. They basically want you to be looking for voter fraud before the actual election even happens, basically not after, which is why the Republicans are going so crazy with having all these damn poll watchers and stuff during this election. They got like hundreds of attorneys. They got all kinds of stuff going on this time because they're making sure that they had their ducks in a row before the election because they know that the Democrats are going to try to cheat again, which they will, in which they'll fail. But shout out to J.D. Vance for cooking this woke behind Lulu dumbass lady. Okay, don't step to J.D. Vance like that. Okay, you don't know who the hell you dealing with. He's not one of these little punk ass walls types with tampons. Okay, this is a damn man. Shit. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
We're way up in the polls, and the only place we're down, New York Times has a headline that we're down a little bit. But they're the only poll. Every poll, you got to see these polls. They're the best polls. New York Times is, we call it the failing New York Times. It's fake news. These people are sick. You remember in 2016, they had to do an editorial apologizing to their readers because they said, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. I swear he's going to lose. And then I won, and they lost thousands and thousands of, I love that. Going to happen again.